Deserts, thousands of square kilometers of territory covered with sand. Daytime temperatures reaching 50 degrees Celsius. The sparse vegetation and very little water makes the nature of the animals living there very challenging, especially his. You're on Animal Instinct, and today we're going to look at a camel in action. And he's definitely a bad guy to mess with, so it's best to evaluate the roles right away. Make yourselves comfortable, we're going to get started. Meet the ship of the desert, the camel, and he wears his name as proudly as possible. Look at him, because he knows that few animals are so well equipped for life in the sands. So he thinks he's a head taller than the others. And in the literal sense of the word, because the camel reaches a height in the withers of more than 2 meters. Add to this a long flexible neck, and his head can be 10 feet above the ground. And these mammals can weigh as much as 1,300 pounds. Not bad, huh? But bulk is a questionable advantage in the desert, so let's move on to its real superpowers. Sand. It can get hot in the sun from above 70 degrees and is talked about. You can even cook eggs in it, but it's not very comfortable to walk on it. You know, not for the camel though, because he's got blisters. The camel's feet are shoed in shoes made of thick, calloused skin, which protects the animal from burns. The camel has the same calluses on his knees, on his elbows, on his chest, and in general everywhere where he has any contact with sand. So it is not for nothing that camels, and llamas too, have a place in the suborder calluses feet, where except them, no one else enters. In addition, each foot of the beast consists of 2 webbed toes, which makes it very wide and allows it not to fall into the sand. And the camel's nose is completely closed if necessary, which makes it possible to breathe during sandstorms and not eat sand. Yes, even the eyes of the animal have a 3rd protective eyelid, and eyelashes grow in 2 rows, and all this for protection from sand. Well, or for snow, because camels live in the Mangol steppes, where weather conditions are noticeably harsh. Needless to say, these desert ships endure the heat without blinking an eye, because everything that is necessary for life is already inside. Camel has simply phenomenal ability to do without water. For example, it is able to lose up to 25% of liquid without harm to the body, and this gives it the opportunity to drink once every 2 weeks and in the heat. At the same time, the animal can heat up from 34 to 41 degrees Celsius without sweating at all. By the way, it saves up to 5 liters of water per day, and all moisture from the exhaled air is deposited in the sinuses and reused. Moreover, its retrocytes have an oval shape and remain mobile even under severe dehydration. But everything has to be paid for, and camels lose a lot of weight without liquid. There was a case when the animal lost 220 pounds in 8 days. However, then he quickly replenished them by drinking 100 liters at once. In general, a full tank of a camel has about 200 liters, and the animal always replenishes it when possible. What's interesting is that they are excellent swimmers, although most camels have never seen a river. Camels use water so efficiently that even their manure is ready to go to work immediately after production. Camel briquettes burn so well that locals never leave such a valuable cargo unattended. And finally, food. The desert is also tight with this, but our hero is obviously not a gourmet because he eats literally everything he can find. Usually he is lucky to get dry, hard grass, which the camel grinds with pleasure with his teeth. They, by the way, often attack very rare trees in those places, and a camel's bantha can easily destroy them all. However, real luck is considered if this ship of the desert manages to find a cactus. Then no thorns are terrible to him, and he greedily pounces on the juicy food. We can't see it, of course, but this is what the camel's mouth looks like inside. Creepy, isn't it? But these bumps help it grind the sharp prickles without harming itself, so it's completely painless for him to eat these select cacti. And if the needle is pierced with fruit slices, it will be a real tasty dessert for the camel. But I wouldn't advise humans to try to follow the camel. What do you think the camel is doing in such a bizarre pose, wagging its tail? In fact, this is how he attracts females to him, and with the help of his tail, this Don Juan disperses his odor. It is also intended to scare away male competitors, and usually it is enough, because camels are economical in everything. They save their strength for their chosen women, but as it usually happens, not all rivals understand the hints, and sometimes you still have to spit in someone. Usually such fighters are easy to distinguish in the herd. Their heads are always in white froth. To open confrontations, animals pass only if nothing has worked before, and camels try to come to each other in the ground. The move goes everything, head, jaws, and even the body, to prevent the opponent from rising. And given their size, such fights look very dangerous. Besides, camels are stubborn as hell, you can't just make them back down. And it's very difficult to break up a camel fight. But by the way, you can still attract females this way. Don't worry, there's nothing wrong with the camel, it's just the way he inflates his palate. And the whole thing is accompanied by a gurgling sound that pleases the lady. So the mountain goat from the previous video has a worthy rival. And in these shots, one camel is chasing another camel and does not let him down at all. Trying to bite, he makes his opponent sit on the ground. But even in the porter, the camel does not stop, continuing his attempts to bite. We should give his opponent credit because he moves his neck very skillfully and constantly evades the attack. However, he misses a couple of bites, and then he gets back on his feet and the race continues. Perhaps that's how they train, because camels are always fighting with someone. For example, with a bull, in front of a whole herd of spectators. And the camel, like a true fighter, tries to grab the head of his opponent and move him to the porter. True, it is not so easy to do this with such a heavy opponent. The same applies to horses, because for them he is a dangerous opponent. A camel can easily grab a horse's leg and pull it to the ground, and it will be very hard for the horse to get up. Therefore, it is very rash to move an adult camel and try to bite him, because he will not just leave it like that. Although the camel is quite nimble, and these horses are clearly not timid. Look how one of them fights back against a naked camel. And although none of the blows are clean, the camel is in no hurry to attack. But it's certainly not clear what this ram is counting on, trying to attack the giants. Apparently, he does not know how strong their jaws are, and there everything is very serious. Because to chew hard grass, you need powerful ligaments. Plus, the camel's teeth are very sharp and stick forward, and the jaws themselves open very wide if you want to. So any opponent smaller than themselves, the camel first of all tries to bite. And in the case of rams, they have a very difficult time, as well as the donkey, because the camel's aim is to bite the spine. And the bite is so hard that the poor thing can't even stand properly. Some donkeys are not afraid though, and they attack the camel as if for the last time, and even the donkey manages to grab his leg. But be that as it may, camels are very dangerous. Therefore, it is not necessary to make kisses near him, because a little more, and the girl would not get off so easily. Like this man who tries to fight with a camel. But the calloused one shows who is the boss by swinging his head and kicking his front legs. After all, you can always expect a camel to strike, and it is equally good at hitting with any of its limbs. However, it is better to keep away from people, because they never leave animals alone. They organize competitions in weightlifting, camel running for speed, and even beauty contests. By the way, at the last such contest in Dubai, more than 40 camels were disqualified from the fences that their owners had injected into their chargers. But that's not the worst of it, because there are the best ones. When camels are put a snake in their mouths, and the whole thing is filled with water, it's believed that this is how people treat emaciated animals that are not helped by other methods. The snake was digested in the stomachs, and the camel would usually sweat a lot and then recover. Although looking at something like this, I don't even want to find out what other ways they tried to treat camels. This is so unusual, but no less interesting was this ship of the desert. And I hope you liked the video and you learned something new from it. Then do not be lazy, rate it. And of course, I am waiting for your comments with the heroes of new reviews. See you in the next video. Bye.